show someone you care. It might not be intentional, but you seem scared. Just try to open up and let it lead somewhere. Breathe in some love and let yourself unfold. Breathe in some love and let yourself unfold. Breathe in some love and let yourself unfold. Breathe in some love. Want to keep it nice and clean, not freak out and cause a scene. I try to hold it together, keep it together. Not sure who I really am, just be cute and super bland. I try to hold it together, keep it together. Been playing it down, but I'm so getting tired. Now won't you meet high? 'Cause I've been feeling that crazy, and I need to lose control. So baby, put the record on, baby, put the record on, hit it. And I've been needing that crazy, and I gotta let it go. So baby, put the record on, I'm not gonna need that song, hit it.
Welcome back to the European Youth Ultimate Championships 2023 in Padova, Italy. The sun is beating down on the fields after the break in the schedule for the heat. And things are really hotting up here in the open division. We have the first and second seed in front of us. Great Britain versus Germany. Neither team undefeated so far in this championship. Of course, that pleasure goes to the French in this side of the championship bracket as it's shaping up. Myself, Hannah Pendlebury, alongside Stefan Rapazzo. Stefan, who are we looking out for in these two star-studded teams?
Oh, I mean, we're looking out for a little bit of everybody right now. These two teams have been hitting towards the top of their brackets, both of them. Both have suffered a few losses along the way. Well, one for GB and two for the Germans. They have kind of moved themselves into the second and third places into the power pool now. And I mean, there are members of both these teams that we can keep our eye on for sure. Ascom has been a top producer, William Moore and Sam Hill, to mention a few for GB, and we're just about underway, so I'll pass it right back to you, Annie. We'll talk a bit more about the roster as we get a couple breaks.
We certainly shall. So it's GB starting out on offense. They are missing a couple of players due to some quirks, notably Tyler East, but of course he'll be on the sidelines. Got an injury, a bit of a knock in the French game earlier, but we'll talk about how that one went. Pantling, one of two siblings, twins in fact. Robert Pantling, the number 49, centering pass to Allen. Nice move easily up line. Kelsey Stollen. Swing around to Hill. GB quite a deep stack, but happy to play these unders. Gill has movement up line, but a big double cutting is going to confuse the space for GB. It's just the resets again. Kelsey Stollen just stoic stuff. Dish on the break side to Hill. No continuation again. Two GB players trying to attack the same space. Gill now looking for options, just faking that flick over and over. Now to Ascom. Ascom shoots up line. And they're just squeezing towards that front cone, but still a couple of inches shy. Easy dish in the end, finding Ben Ashcombe in the end zone.
Good patience by GB there in a match point there, a match D situation. Germans showed some very tight marks, some very tight coverage throughout the points. Didn't really phase GB. A couple high stall counts is about as tight as it got. A couple chases on the hip is about as tight as it got. But GB opened up in pretty good looking form there. Maintained composure, and that's what you call walking one in. They felt the pressure, but they didn't really fold, wrinkle, or certainly not cave to it. And nice way to start the game for GB.
Yeah, they seemed to move with pretty relative ease for 3/4 of the pitch for Great Britain, but when the field became compressed, I think was when the German defenders really started kind of to put the stand up. That was a really great sort of red zone defense, really shutting down a lot of the downfield options. GB having to choose a lot of resets there.
Yeah, this is a classic match. Two of the powerhouses of European Ultimate in any given division. They came in as the top seeds here. Of course, the French and the Italians stole those top seeds away, and the Austrians, in fact, took the second seed away from the Germans, which relegated them to this power pool as the 3 seed now in this power pool.
Indeed, and losers play winners, of course, in these power pool matches for the next game in Fred, but that's a lovely put out into the space from Biskupik. It's going to be picked out of the sky beautifully by Moritz Lehmann. A little bit of a collision there with some of the GB players, but I think all fair.
They are still in discussion as we watch this replay. Nice looking sky from that perspective. Let's see how they call it up. Ah, they did go again.
Indeed, just a straight shot from Lehman into the waiting target, but that was a really great piece of vertical display from the defender who just missed the disc. Robert Pantling getting nice and high, but a really great read in the end from Lehman. A lot of air under that disc from Biskopek, but he'll collect another stat to, well, you know, be robbed of another stat to his tally because that wasn't quite in the end zone.
Yeah,
but
I guess
the hockey assist.
that's what it came down to there, the in-out call. I was wondering if they were talking about contact, which I didn't necessarily see on the replay, but it was where that first toe landed, and everybody was happy to agree it was just outside of the line. And one throw later, and the liner made good with his catch and turned it into an assist. So Germany clean hold themselves. And in a few less passes, only 4 to get that job done. Does that make a difference?
I'm not sure massively. I mean, in terms of, obviously, if you're GB, it's just about being patient around that end zone, not getting, you know, we lovingly refer to as end zone eyes. But the GB O-line out again, and nearly the rescue, but great spirit there from Kelsey Stolen. Knew that disc wasn't quite right in his hand. So a golden opportunity for the German D-line with just a few yards left to go. Galaikas, the Colombian on this team. Hammer over to the far side, and that is a really beautiful attempt at a layout D from Sam Hill, but cannot deny great spacing for Arto Preyer. And that's a great early days for the Germans.
Yeah. Say your prayers when that one gets sent over to Arthur Preyer, but the hammer was beautiful. The reception took a little bit of metal to be able to hang on to that one. You know, between the angle that was coming in, he was probably blinded for a moment at a time from the disc because of the defender in front. So being able to maintain concentration on that disc and follow it all the way into the hands. Very well done to get that break.
I have a question for you, Steph. What do you think the force was in that kind of recovery attempt from Great Britain's O-line?
Force hammer?
Well, it looked like it might even have been sort of a force middle, or maybe just kind of just moving out of position. Fairly straight up force, and it sort of allows that space on the far sideline. Hill a little bit out of position, certainly if that was the open side.
Yeah, I still go back to the start of that play with the Kelsey Stolen drop there. A little bit of casual nature about it. Put the one hand out. He was kind of looking upfield right away. Lessons to be learned there about those undefended first throws. Let's see how they get it this time.
Yeah, exceptional pull from the German D-line. Big lateral swing. Over to Hill. It's near sideline now, and the Germans coming out in a zone. Relatively passive. So 3 handle marks at the front. Exploited well. There's very little wind out here today in the fields of Padova. Pantling, choosing the reset, immediately getting it back. Chooses the upline skill. Looking to hit the brake side. Big old poach off of Pantling now. Exploited well. Connecting. Nope, not choosing the second pass. There was plenty of space for Smith. Goes up line instead. Oh, the lefty air bounce backhand. That is a really nice throw. A beach of a backhand into the path of James Gill for the hold for Great Britain.
Yeah, great work there by Pantling, not just continuing to the open side, to the swing side, the automatic throw. The mark kind of came across and took the throw away. He didn't just force it. He didn't stay committed to the first look. Went back to the short side. And 2 throws later, found a very open throw in the corner there. And here's another look at that scoring throw. A beautiful delivery by Mickler. Sorry, not by Mickler, by Smith, Rowan Smith. And there he is with his stat on the screen.
Yeah, the lefty I like the air bounce. It always looks really nice. However, not something you ever want to throw in a windy game because that can end up going very awry. But look at the pass count here, Steph. Real big difference. The Germans are being, well, dare we say it for the stereotype, very efficient.
Yes, they are building a BMW out there as they put goals in with very few throws. One of them even a break already.
GB suffered a slow start in their game this morning against the French. They went 8-0 down. That 8th score, of course, also a Callahan. So mental recovery is really the name of the game here. They fight to remain the second seed in their power pool. So a zone of Great Britain's own, now trying to slow down this speedy, pacey offense of the Germans. Staying cool and calm in their own end zone, now just escaping it. Very aggressive zone around the handler set for Great Britain, trying to force negative yards. The Germans will be happy to do it. I love the confidence of throwing directly back into your end zone. It's a nice slicer to expand and move the disc fully laterally.
GB really pressuring the throw there. While they were in the corner, they had 5 in a 7-meter box around the disc.
If that doesn't produce a Callahan, then that for other few things will. But again, the confidence on this German offense, and deservedly so, they've been picture perfect thus far in the game. Still early days. This is nice swinging across. Boom. One of 2 bombs on this under 20 side. Nice move from Scrovegni. Shoots now. Just swinging all the way around, but there's no third hander on this near side. Slicing it past the jaws of the defense. Now the jailbreak through the back of the cup. Has Rita. Will jump forward and into the end zone goes Leopold. Boom. Boom. There it goes.
Home goes the dynamite, and a nice bit of work up the line after they compromised the zone. Not sure if GB had fully transitioned or were amidst a transition, but the zone really only worked for up until midfield there. It had slowed them down. It really put pressure on them in their own end there. That when they started the sequence, there was some high pressure. But the hammer, as soon as they put them side to side once, a little bit of fatigue, a little bit of separation in the front row there, and the Germans worked their way around, eventually using that far sideline to march the last 40 meters of the field in for the goal.
Well, the Germans riding high off some success this morning. They had a 15-11 victory in the slightly staggered time slot, first thing against the Czech Republic. On offense, Sam Hill looking to field the ball but getting stuck. Very good rundown from the German D-line. Again, pretty decent pull form. Can they pin them on this near side corner again with the relatively passive zone? Just putting that wall up front of 3. Good movement across. Just trying to contain the GB flow, try and make them throw over the top. Hill, still count rising, puts that one out. A little bit of a run required for Gill, but all fine. Ford, swinging through. This is good spacing from Great Britain. And then fine, not having to cluster in. A little bit of movement now from Hill. Doesn't mean too many yards. Follow through on the activation. Easy toss through to Gill. Just taking their time. There's the racy shot over the top, but very nice find for Burnham. Going to put it towards the end zone, but it's going to be way over the head of William Moore.
Yeah, the first throw there was a beauty, I will say, but it looked like it was very close to a hand in front at the release point. Second throw, that was a risky throw no matter what. The defender was far too close. I almost think it would have been better to float it up on the break side and wait for a change of direction from the cutter, but they were really searching for a small window, trying to zip one up that line, and ended up going far too high.
Yeah, there was a real race from William Wall, one of the York players on this GB side. You could see how he really had to try and turn on the jets and ended up going more for pace than loft. But that's going to be required, a bit of an aerial display. There is the bid from Gorenflow, sorry. It doesn't come up with the goods. Cool downfield, an injury. I think Gorenflow's going to just take a little moment.
There's that shoulder, elbow maybe, one of the two he's hanging on. Looks like shoulder, he's giving a good spin to.
Yeah, it was a really nice bid, but hopefully he will be okay. So Burnham coming off, and he'll be replaced by the number 49, Robert Pantling, and 55, Horseman coming on for the Germans. Hill now surveying the options, fakes that high release. Ooh, I like the change between the grips, nearly went for the lefty offhand backhand. Pantling, the fresh legs to Gill. Big, risky inside shot, and there's the fist bump from Sebastian Meyerhofer as he celebrates that one going into the turf. Wind up, but no release. That one again. Tell you what, this German D-line's really asking a lot of each other. Vilaikas, though, happy to deliver the layout just to secure the possession. That one a little bit high, but all fine. Meyerhofer again. There's a nice fading pass and a timeout being called to try and get a little bit of form for this slightly messy German D-line offense. Wolfhangel is going to say, let's have a think.
Yeah, German coaches stoked on that. Here's the air. That is just asking for way too much out of himself. James Geel there wanted the inside break, but was trying to cut a way too big of an angle, and in fact mechanically twisted himself up in the process. Good on the defense, a solid mark, but not much was necessary when we try to bite off a bit more than you can chew, so to speak there. Looking for everything in a direct break right through the mark side.
Well, SGB failed to take the break to set themselves up for the end zone offense. We're going to take a break here in the booth, but do not go anywhere. This first half will continue. Germany leading one break, 3-2.
Yes, he will. We live in a world where everything can be referenced online. Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. Eurodisc continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. Eurodisc. What a grab! Oh my! Somehow they do it!
Back in the action here, first half of Power Pool play. Power Pool D in front of us, looking to fight for the second and third positions going into the championship bracket. And I feel like one of the things of virtue of coming second in this Power Pool, Stefan's got to be trying to avoid at all costs the French Open team. Yeah,
as much as the Italians have been very strong too, they've gone undefeated, it really is the French that have just been sticking it to their opponents. They beat GB 15-4 this morning. And GB's not alone in taking these one-sided beatings against the French. We've seen them on the stream. They are big and bad and physical, and they throw with the French touch and all. But avoiding them, yes, a big part of winning here.
Absolutely, they have really been a dynamic threat. I'm sure GB would like us to point out they did indeed get a break on the French in that second half, but the 8-0 first half was a real startling performance. Germans going up line, shooting with momentum into the end zone. The target is there, And the goal is made. What a catch that was under pressure.
That was almost NFL-like. The hit was not a tackle, no, but the desperation to get a hand on it did have a bit of follow-through through the body there, and as such, even more impressive to hang on. There's the finishing touches of the German celebration. But that was, let's have another look at this, because that finish was physical.
Yeah, really great grab by Robin Mischler. Sort of just clatter. It's an interesting one because you can see how the Mischler just sort of turns around as he makes that catch, the bit of momentum carrying him as he sort of reaches towards the disc. It almost actually opens up a better sort of, I suppose, a cushion, as if you would, for the defender that's coming streaking through. So rather than sort of getting caught on the back shoulder, that turn by virtue actually opens up the chest a little bit for more of a spread of the contact. So he got a little bit lucky.
Gotta be good to be lucky.
Truth. So a second break for the Germans.
Dun, 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 dun. They're looking good early days.
They are
Can GB steady this ship? Of course, on the other side, we say winners play losers, losers play winners. Switzerland in the mix there, and they may be relegated after quarters. They have players from Denmark, and because of that, their potential to qualify deep has been limited, though there are some gray areas in there, so we can't really spell that all out for you now.
I believe they are stopped from going into the championship brackets then.
I believe they can go into the quarters.
Have they changed it now? Interesting. Curiouser and curiouser. Of course, the reason why those Danish players are on it is because the Danish team did, disappear. Unfortunately, unable to make it to this championship event. And of course, youth programs are all about developing players for the future. So, all right, well, we'll have to bring you that one, folks. Controversies, as always, at Ultimate Tournaments. At the moment, the controversy might be GB taking a second loss in the tournament to this very well put together thus far German team. 0 turnovers for their O-line thus far. And 2 exploited. 3 turnovers, but 2 exploited by the D-line when GB are on offense. James Gill currently with the disc centering through Alvarasin. Oh, but that's a lovely snag high for Josh King. Alvarakin fakes the big shot. It's the easy dish instead. Kelsey Stollen, I'm sure, will have to put that drop out of his mind from the early stages.
Hopefully that's long gone by now. He looks to be, looks like he's feeling composed out there right now.
Yes, indeed. Just dancing around the back of Sam Hill, finding the lineup. Now Mischler, that's Smith. Wrong side of the stat sheet. Albarakin pops back to Gio. Oh, that's a really nice throw out into the space, but it's going to sail out of bounds. A little bit too much on it. Albarakin. And the German coaches in front of us are very pleased with that.
Yeah, they don't mind one bit. Surely not celebrating the error as much as they are celebrating the effort their defensive line put in to make that error happen. But Albacaren, just the 17-year-old, 6 years playing experience from Exeter. And that one there got away from him. Here comes Germany.
Yeah, this GB team largely made out of York and Exeter lads. St. Peter's, the home of the Air Badgers back in the UK. It's more of a mix of clubs for this young German side. They race upfield. Peterson into Klimesh. Swings round. Meyerhofer again. Plenty of dirt already on that lovely white German jersey. That one's going to escape the paws, though, of Maurice Klimesh. A little bit too much mustard.
Yeah, Meyerhofer there was wide open and calling for it for the last 10 paces, but as soon as he settled and looked back to return to sender, he put a bit too much.
Some good switching upfield again. Sort of passive zone from the Germans. Really good spacing, of course, not trying to use and abuse the windy conditions, just putting together sort of assault course of defenders upfield. Oh, but there is the block. What a great piece of work from Klimish to get the disc back after unable to lay out, and he gets the goal too from the hands of Jakob Fass.
Klimish, the 16-year-old from Augsburg, just getting it done there. It almost seemed accidental. He walked into that defense, made sure about it, had that right arm flailing, and just put his head down, started cutting, and the throw rewarded him for his efforts. A double happiness for that young man, Moritz Klimish, shining on stream as the Germans break again. 5-2 right now. And a reminder that they will start the second half receiving the pull. So Germany looking the part, and that's the miss by Klimish. So he had the error that gave GB the disc back, and does he make up for himself?
Yeah, almost looks surprised to get that block, doesn't he? I think it's probably not even his error. You know, that was a full stretch layout,
yes.
probably the opportune moment to try and rescue possession. But as the athletes out here take a break, we will too, folks. Don't go anywhere, though. Can GB use this one to bring themselves back, trailing against the Germans 5-2? Well, Great Britain taking a timeout in the first half of Power Pool D action, trailing 3 breaks to the German under-20 open team, who've looked very calm, cool and under control. They've had 0 turnovers on their O-line and been pretty good at converting their break chances thus far. We didn't quite bring you it, but I have to say it was delightful to watch Rupert Pantling alongside one of the other GB coaches getting a water bottle out, Stefan, and spraying down the legs of GB, just trying to cool them, calm them, and bring some settling, I think, into their minds, because it seems that they're just making some curious choices.
They're unsettled. Mr. Mist coming around and, you know, cooling off the legs, trying to resettle the unsettledness. GB, that is what it's about. A bit of width, a bit of confidence out there, which is always tough when the other team's breaking against, but just going back and forth, it seems like it's there. The German D, like, okay, one German D there that was almost surprising to him. Otherwise, GB's got this if they can put it together in their own heads.
Well, they haven't had a break opportunity yet thus far in the game, but it is still early doors, and certainly, I'll tell you what, that's a really fantastic layout D from last tie shirt.
Yeah, as soon as I say they weren't happening, there they are.
That one might be a little bit too low, though. It's going to be a big old stretch. Can he make it happen? No.
Not for lack of effort, though. There's the bid, even when it seemed like there's never a chance. There is always those times when you lay out and, again, surprise yourself as a receiver and, oh my God, it's in my hand.
Yeah, we had one of those early doors actually for the Italian women on their first live stream game. There was one where, the look on the players' faces, especially at this sort of youth division, of pure unmitigated joy when they're like, oh, I am that good at Frisbee.
And these players are literally improving by the day as they get this kind of international experience in them, some for the very first time right now.
Absolutely. Talking to the GB manager, Ruth Flight, massive shout out to her for keeping things running smoothly in Camp GB. From the logistics perspective, it's been one of her favourite moments. It's just all these little moments of watching these players develop and get better and better as the tournament goes on. Big old pick, so that one will come back off of the paws of Sam Hill. Of course, his dad, Mr. UK Ultimate, is actually coaching alongside 3 other GB lads. Disc back in the hands of Askham. That one's going to escape, though. The left hand just clutches nothing but air, does Ben Allen. So back in play in the hands of Jonas Vilikas. About halfway down the pitch. Got some dashing calf compression. Nice handler marking initially, but eventually coming through. Oh, but nearly threw that directly into the coverage, but it's a slightly risky shot far side. Osman just sliding to keep that one alive. Fancy footwork in the backspace, but it's just going to be an easy reset through to Peterson. Inside break to absolutely nobody. Sails across the stack, plenty of eyes on it, but no one there to make the reception in the end zone. Good defense from GB.
Yeah, needed a bit more float to cross the stack like that, leave one up, or a bit of shape, if not float. And it didn't have any, it was just kind of a straight, flat shot, and it got away.
Well, immediate Route 1 offense streaking down the field as Askham. They ask the questions and he delivers a huge layout. Now dishing back, Allen. Gonna just need that easy reset. Has it directly behind from Dewar. Call somewhere else on the field though. Surely, is that a travel call on that massive throw?
Ask him to lay out and he says yes, but maybe not to count if this travel stands.
Well, I think we did have a good shot of it on our replay if they want to see it again in terms of the footwork on the throw from Sam Hill.
I would watch that layout again and again and again and again. That was a thing of beauty.
I'm not sure I saw that pivot foot move too much on the release from Hill, but either way, we don't have a it was really cool, so it should stand rule
I
in
think
Ultimate.
The Germans have a national team sniffer dog that they brought out there and sniffed out exactly where the foot started to where it ended. Oh goodness.
Yeah, not sure I saw it, Steph.
In that frame there, I mean, it was not a close-up, but that looked like a statue legs and a moving upper body throwing.
Well, GB just need to hold on here to their offense. This would be their first recovered point of the game if they can punch it in. Askham does still have position on his defender. He's been marked up by Last Tie Shirt, who of course was the player that got that initial layout bid in this point.
A little bit of chat about team style going on right now in our chats. I think if I were to pick one of these two kits, I'd be going Germany, and I'll leave it at that.
There's some, what I'll say is some interesting choice of sublimation for the GB kit this season, but of course, it doesn't really necessarily matter how it looks when you're representing your national team. It's still an honour to wear the shirts, and I have to say, in the hot conditions in Padova, that Look Fly fabric is very nice to be in. It's very thin wearing. But of course we have a range of Ultimate suppliers, and we certainly love Force Ultimate Gear, one of our fantastic sponsors. Looking for a reset, but good handler marking, rules it out. Hill squeezed on the far sideline, sends the mark flying with a big fake. Rose Price has Hill making moves. The real anchor of this GBO line. Pantling now looking around for options. That's Gill upfield. Gill through to Hill. Fakes the hammer to try and exploit and move around the very tight mark. back with Rose Price. High grab for Giel. Seeking options, plenty of double cutting. Oh, the hand goes up, and what a find at the back line of the end zone. Ben Allen baiting a really great blade over the top.
A wrestling bear hug of a celebration there. And GB, that throw, I mean, it's all about the scoring throw there. They look good and composed going in, but finding that blade, seeing the hand go up in the air, and that looked very good to finish. A nice throw, showing no fear with the no hesitation, and dropping a dime, so to speak. And if you've got dimes to drop, you can go to ULTI.TV and drop them into our patron program, become a patron, and you too can be a dime dropper here on ULTI.TV. Drop them into your Patreon account and help us out and help continue to bring this wonderful Ultimate to your screens back home.
And if you don't earn your own money, perhaps if you're one of the juniors watching this, watching a sibling perhaps, you can actually spend some straight up kilojoules, some calories, by hitting that like button, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the thumbs up, all these things. I mean, look, we see you watching this one.
I think we can get 16 likes. Oh my, we just got 16 likes. Can we get 17? Oh my, it's 17! My goodness, imagine we got 50. I couldn't imagine. Our viewers don't love us that much, do they, Hanny?
Oh, they absolutely do.
Oh my goodness.
We see you in the live chat, and thank you very much for keeping the live chat alive. Lovely to have you all alongside us.
A couple members of Chicago Machine over there, yapping it up. One old-time member and one soon-to-be member. We see you out there.
Indeed. Well, I hope Joe White watches the Israel game because he gets a shout-out in it, because he got a shout-out in a player survey. But back to the action at hand. The German O-line coming out for the first time in a little while. Big old hammer. Easily collected and immediately shooting towards the end zone. It's going to be a sky battle between the two players. And what a layout block that was! Huge stuff. Is that Sam Hill coming on for the D-line? Foul call.
Accepted too, but holy... I can't use the word that's coming to mind right away, but holy dooly.
Holy heck.
Yeah, that man, Sam Hill, flew in a beautiful way. I thought he did a lot to avoid the body contact there, but the left arm was still tucked in.
Well, you still got to go for it, haven't you? Can GB put on a defensive stand in the red zone? That one a bit of a reach for Boom. But manages to get to it. Now dancing around the back of the mark, you see the flash of the foot to try and get the block from the defender. Inside, just soft break. Stops the continuation, but there, just posted through the letterbox in the end. It's going to be Finn Bosenius with the goal and the hold for the German O-line.
And a nice hold. It almost doesn't feel right after watching that play by Sam Hill. A fantastic defensive effort, denied the contact. I know it was accepted, everything legitimate. I'm not contesting the fact that was just the most thrilling part of that point that still went to the Germans 3 throws later. Here it is again. Sam Hill setting up for launch. Yeah, that left arm was the only thing that just leaning into the right shoulder blade there, I guess, but holy jumping Jawillikers, Sam Hill can fly.
It's where he goes with that right arm, isn't it? Actually, realistically, it's great boxing by the defender. So if my memory serves, that was Taisha that he managed to sort of slip his way around, or it might have been Bosenius. No, it was indeed Bosenius. So it was that kind of, standing firm and actually just using the shoulders behind it to sort of close that window. Hill would have had to sort of, try and sort of sneak through with that left arm. By going with the right, it's what turns his body, sends that momentum into the back shoulder. But I mean, you've got to have a go at them, and both players coming out of it completely fine, no injuries, no sour grapes. Immediately accepts the contact and the foul. So GB are going to have to come back out on offense. They pulled a power line there, but they're going to have to do something a little bit different, and it's going to start with just a clean hold here if they can. Thus far, they haven't had too many of them. Wilder. Around to Hill. Looking for that immediate give-go. Looks it off for a couple of moments. Hill nice and active against this zone. Pushing the disc into his paws every time. Hammer fake. Bouncy stolen. And a call from a transition for the German defense. Back into match coverage. Giel. Low. Oh, great catch and then a spin move. Action roll.
Somersault jump.
Ask him. Doesn't really super commit to the around. On 8, can they redeem it? No, they cannot. Foul is going to be called.
Foul call, maybe legitimate, but there was also a miscommunication there for sure. He had looked to that dump space, and by the time he threw it, his dump space cutters were going upfield. So I'm not going to say I did or did not see any contact on the throw, but I did see a bit of a change of direction there.
I think if there's foul call, then there's definitely on the hand slap on the way through of the throw. Certainly, there was a lot of contact, sort of a moment or so before the throw went off. But of course, if you still make the throw, you cannot have the foul. So ask him. This time it's a fine around to Pantling. Chooses the inside. Exploits that mark being a little bit sagged off, and there indeed is the hold for Great Britain. A nice one through to James Giel, add to his stat tally. Another of these Exeter lads, air badges all across the roster for Great Britain.
I don't know too much about Exeter, but while I was in the Nottingham, I got to do a pub quiz, and there were cryptic clues that said someone who, and it was, you had to pick the city and someone who is leaving a room, and the answer was Exeter and Exeter. And that's really about all I know about Exeter geographically in GB, but I do know that James Giel is able to get the job done there, getting very clear at the last moment, finding space in that front corner. It's where you want to be. It's kind of cutting 101. If you want to score goals, leave that center stack and cut towards those front corners, and you will be rewarded for your efforts. And there he is. Well, there's Sam Hill, the assist thrower.
Indeed, and he's got, in fact, it is, I believe, Grandad Hill's birthday today. So happy birthday to Mr. Hill, the OG Mr. Hill, and currently the kind of, the, dynasty of Hills that I'm sure will go on for generations to come. But to fill you in on Exeter, have you ever heard of the sexy Devon Fish Monsters, i.e. Devon Ultimate?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, they're from Exeter, sort of, well, a lot of them.
Exeter's like a region then, a county,
Devon's the county, Exeter's the city. But a lot of the Devon lads are from ex-air badges themselves, all coming from St. Peter's School, and certainly from, and it's kind of one of the cities.
There's got to be a shire in there too, it can't just be a city and a county.
I think Devonshire.
Okay, oh yeah.
Hold on, I'm going to have to Google this and just check myself. But anyway, back to the action at hand. GB looking to try and grab a break off of this German side, who are making quick work. Rieder just towards the goal. In fact, that was indeed in the end zone. Moritz Lehmann looking so casual, but then celebrating the goal. Just skipping their way on some of these points. That one took barely any passes. There was that one point where GB put zone on where the Germans had to throw 38 stuff, but apart from that, they're barely making their way into double digits for these goals.
The match defense has they gotta change something up, whether it's their no-ins, whether it's the force or even just stick with the same force and no rounds rather than ins. They got to be able to change things up a bit, because the zone is slowing down the Germans, but they're finding a way. The match right now needs some variation, because Germany is walking in relatively unabated by the defense. Yeah,
there have been moments when GB have generated pressure, but only that one potential turn, which was of course called back on the foul that Sam Hill immediately accepted. But things looking very fine for German fans. If you're a German fan and you're in our live chat, let us know. say hello to us. Plenty of GB fans. And yeah, it isn't Devonshire. I don't know why. I don't know why I got myself confused. How very embarrassing for a British person. But it's a lovely part of the world.
You know, it gets me all twisted up about you wonderful British people, is that a shire's a shire until you put it behind another word, and then it's a shire. I don't understand how that works. But I guess I don't need to. I will live and learn and respect the ways of the other cultures of the world, especially the ones that do happen to invent the language that is my mother tongue.
Well, to relate back to this game, so German and English as languages. German, extremely steep learning curve when you first start learning. It's lots of rules to learn, lots of strict grammar, those compound words that become a real mouthful. Whereas English, very simple basic structure, but exceptionally difficult to become technically proficient at because, as you say, there are no rules. It's just sort of, you just have to know it.
Don't you know how to differentiate those two things that would seem completely obvious, but are totally backwards to the rule?
Indeed, and then don't even get us into the dialects we have, being such a small nation. My grandmother spoke Broad Yorkshire, and most people cannot understand it. But I do. It's very valid. There's plenty of Yorkshire action out on the field for Great Britain. Say look to these York players. But that one's going to be a contested stall out potentially. Maybe a marking infraction. Put us a couple of beats down. Disc in the hands of Dylan Wilder.
A stoppage there. FT Alex in the chat is keen to know who the future stars are, who the best players are. We can tell you stat leaders, but we're seeing it all unfold here, so we're watching with you as these future stars become.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you'd expect these two teams to be up in the power pool rankings because they do have very deep rosters indeed. Now it's into the hands of Burnham. Looking for options, has the reset to Pantling. One of three Pantling playing siblings. Was his brother, twin brother, took a little bit of a knock to the foot. Might be back later on in the tournament. That's a really great grab for Robert. Throws out into the space, but it's taken out of the sky by the flying form of Leopold Boom.
Interesting choice there. There was so much pursuing traffic just coming in, even friendly fire crossing that lane to get ready to stack. A bit of patience there to wait for the up line, or the easier reset would have been a better option.
Well, maybe getting a little bit hasty, thinking, well, we have to do something. We have to do something soon to try and close the 3-break deficit. Of course, this break would give the Germans the half, 8-4 up. Boom. Faking the dish upfield, looking now just staring at the handler. Really nice movement from Vilaikas. That one's going to be way too far, though, even for any kind of bid, and will come in about midfield by the looks of it.
Yeah, that maybe traveled half its flight path over inbounded grass. So a bit of an advantage here for GB to be able to maintain their holds.
Yeah, a little bit of a gift. This would be only their second recovered point of the game.
Sam Hill all smiles as he walks to the inbound spot where Meyerhofer awaits him.
Indeed, of course, Sam Hill, one of the key parts of Smash D, the young up-and-coming club side out of the UK. Big old shot into the end zone, sky ball blade, and some friendly fire, I think, there. You can see the dismay on Robert Pantling. He just pops his hands into the dirt.
Sam Hill asking a lot there of his receivers that time. Went for a bit of glory. Had two big bodies in the area, but threw to a bit too much traffic there rather than waiting for something to develop.
Yeah, outdoors, indoors. Pantling, of course, plays his ultimate for Lemmings, so he'll be representing. Lemmings, of course, again, one of the sort of newer clubs for the mixed side. Nice inside slice of Tobiskopik, who's going to open up a huge lefty flick. Plenty of curvature on it. Can it sink into the intended target? No! It is defended beautifully by Freddie Bernard.
Yeah, great pursuit there by Freddie Bernard, he did not give up on that play, and why should you ever? But the intended receiver had 2 steps from the get-go. It looked like it should have been going to Baum, but Bernard just kept on, kept on, kept on. I'm not sure he actually got a touch there. If he did, it was just a bit. And his career highlight, well, beating the Germans on Universe Point last year. So I'll tell you what, the Germans may have remembered that too, because they seem to have a point to prove out there right now.
Absolutely. Well, we know that these teams do love to play against each other. A battle for the ages, no matter which division you're playing in. But a pick upfield will give us a brief moment of pause. Bernard getting a little bit caught in the traffic. Leopold Boom trying to keep up. It's back in play. Pantling looking for some kind of option to develop. Going to have to go all the way across, but that's just going to roll for yards. Things looking a little bit sticky and static for Great Britain's offense there. Didn't really try and attack too much close to the disc. Good spacing, but need to be a little bit more happy with their movement. Big one around. Oh, the run through spoils. There's contact that's immediately accepted. Kelsey Stolen trying to steal the disc away. Getting a little bit too much touch.
Ooh, yeah, I think it's more of a strip than a foul.
Absolutely incredible closing speed. That one fired like a cannon down the far sideline to the sliding Osman. Another really lofty.
Oh.
A little bit late on the bid there, but great effort, just breathing down the backs of the necks. Flying bid from Bernard. Askham, sorry. Oh, that's a lovely piece of idea, but taken away. Another foul call. This time it's Robert Pantling that's going to have the discussion. Says he looks pretty firm, he got it cleanly.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happily hear this discussion, but that throw gave Pantling way too much of an opportunity. I think retracted, and the turnover stands. I thought that was very clean, and everybody agrees in the end. Yeah,
an exceptional body control as well from Pantling, staying behind but just reaching the arm through and knocking the disc away at the crucial moment just before the catch of Clunash. So, can GB be a little bit more active, this time a slicing inside? Finds Askham. Hill. This for Great Britain's offensive hold. It's taken him quite a while to do it. So his legs are going to start to tire. Kelsey Stolen, hammer viciously, but that is actually in the perfect space. James Gill reeling it in, and all smiles and celebration. The GB cheering section goes wild.
Whoop-de-whoop, dropping hammers right in the bread basket there. That was a fine piece of throwing to get GB on the board for a hold on a long multi-turnover point. There was 6 turnovers in that point in total, and GB did very well to come out with the point on the board and to do it a little bit of sensationalism, putting that down the line hammer as a leading throw to a receiver. Love to see it. Well done.
Well, in a same third shot like that, actually, there is a sense of method to the madness, isn't there, with that kind of the way the hammer's going to drop into the space. A lot of the time we actually talk about the fact that, you know, going for a more rudimentary, more high percentage pass is more worth it. That one just works out really nicely, just drops perfectly into the correct section, doesn't really give either defender the option to make a play on it because you've got to read it perfectly, but that one works out well. Kelsey Stolen with the assist for GB, and they keep this first half alive. If you're a coach on the sidelines though, Steph, what kind of defense are you going to throw at this German O-line?
I mean, I probably want to give him a transition right now and start with a zone for a short count, but the match hasn't worked, but the zone has still allowed them to score on a high pass count. I would just slow down their initial setup and see what you can do downfield with match pressure.
Well, they've come out pure match, just trying to rely on their athleticism. We know that GB are indeed a very athletic team. They are trying to challenge every single pass and just continuously apply that pressure. That one is a big one, but it just bobbles off the hand. A little bit casual for Lucas Biskupek. The captain gives it up, and that's going to be an easy score for GB, surely. Yes, it is. Rowan Smith. That's the break GB needed to keep this half alive, and they celebrate emphatically.
Break back for GB. Captain Biskupek there was, you saw a bit of hesitation. Should I lay out? Should I bid? No, I think I've got this, just with the lean over. Did end up looking very casual, as you said. It bounced off the open hand, but he was just in a unbalanced position leaning over for it. And boy, oh boy, did GB make him pay. This throw by the 61 shirt, Rose Price, was just lethal to the spot where only one man was going to get it, and that man was Rowan Smith. GB on the board with a break. The 17-year-old 6-footer gets that goal. And his sporting hero is Harry for his drip on the pitch. He's got to be talking about a football player, or is he talking about a teammate?
Well, there's no Harrys on the GB roster, so maybe it's a Harry who plays for one of his other teams, but I don't know. If you're the Harry he's talking about, feel free. If you've got a good drip on the pitch.
Is it possibly Harry Mason? Because that drip is just dropped.
It's a tap with no washer. That's what that is. But in his Rose Price, another of the Air Badger lads on, but that was a York to Air Badger crap. And again, another person who really enjoyed that Universe Point win. So beating Germany on the stream at World Junior Ultimate Championships last year. Big old strip in the centre of the field. But Rose Price says, look out for Dylan Wilder. He's the better version of Jeff Babbitt. You heard it here, folks, if you're looking for ones to watch for Great Britain. Well, that's a big old claim.
That is a massive claim.
Boom. Centre of the field, looking for options. Loving the insides. Oh, that is a steal for Pantling. Now, can GB make anything of it? No, throws immediately into the waiting hands of Anton France.
Preservation of greatness.
Yeah, one still deserves another. There's an Italian phrase, it's stealing the thief zone. And that coming a cropper for Great Britain. The pressure is starting to really pay off. They have been so consistent in the intensity of their match defense. Boom. Taking charge once more. Big old skyrocket. Lots of air underneath it. Pantling just chasing it down out of bounds. Just denying Biskupek any way to make a play.
Air under it, Pantling under it. Two things that Germany didn't want under it. And GB gonna get it back. Right now is where they've got to call on what their coach has said is kind of the team mantra. We said to sum up the team in one word, and the word was together. And that's the only way they're going to find their way out of this. They've got the second turn. Can they cash in the second break?
Oh, it just bubbles off the hands. Outstretched for Ben Arscombe. Nice snag for Biskupek. Off he goes, flashing across the front of the disc. A bit later for Boom, but all fine. Looking immediately for the reset, but well defended. That one's going to go into the front corner, and a miss on the bid. Great attempt.
Another turn, another opportunity. GB lucky to get this one back. They gave it up 3 meters from the end zone, right in the middle. 4 or 5 throws later to get that leading throw and missed on the layout, but they were in scoring position every single touch of that possession, and they still managed to get it back. So let's see what they can do here.
Well, GB maybe going for a little bit of huck and D. Can Pantling rise over the top? There's just a Mac on, but it's going to be good enough to stop the charge. Biskupek just popping that one out of contention. But I have to say, I don't dislike that as an option for GB. They've turned over on the first pass every time they've had the disc in this point as a D-line. So why not have that first throw go all the way to the other side of the field?
Yeah, 1 centimeter away from that being a Pantling reception.
Liner. Round the back to Boom. Has a think about it. Stall count starting to rise, but it's an easy reset for Liner. really too much movement. The O-line for the Germans, who've been so efficient, haven't really been out the field too long, maybe looking a little bit tired. Reader surveying the field. Eyes still around. Snagged by Patzold. That one's going to have, again, a lot of air under it, but all fine for Biskupik. This is much better continuation now and flow from the Germans. Schütz. Inside dad backhand, ripped out of the sky by Boom. Fakes the hammer. Now signals he needs some kind of reset. There's a little bit of a stumble in front of the disc. That one gets a big piece of the foot, but it's going to be ground stripped. And a foul is called.
On the throw there. High stall count. The foot caught the disc, but I guess he's saying the disc was still in hand, which makes for the foul.
Yeah, GB have had moments of really clean defense and really less than clean, but that one's going to be taken out of contention by the layout of Robert Pantling.
Pantling sending himself flying there. He did it a couple points ago, got the D. He's done it again. And don't mess with Pantling. His matchup, he's got a foot on Biskupik nearly. And of course, Biskupik doing a heck of a job, but throwing those shots for goal, if there's any float, I don't know if Biskupik's my target if Pantling stays on him.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of two twin brothers on again. GB missing the target on early stage of their counter attack. But yeah, 6'2", the Pantling twins. Of course, Rupert, unfortunately, taking that injury early days in the tournament, might come back later. But for now, he can do nothing but spray his teammates, keep them cool on the far sideline. Nice move forward, Reader into Boom. Now Schütz, 18-year-old wearing the 18 shirt. Always a nice season to have, and he's going to go all the way to the bank and collect at the front cone. The Germans take half, 8-6, but that's a bit better from GB. They're going to come out on offense, are the Germans, but the one break does help.
It helps substantially. GB not doing themselves any favors. At the same time, they are lifting. But unforced errors are what's causing the return turnovers. They got to limit those. But the pressure they're showing, if that maintains or continues to mount, this is going to be a tight one at the end. Limit those unforced errors, and we got a game on our hands.
Indeed. Well, it was very different journeys through the course of day 4 for both of these sides, of course. You have to think that there is potentially an impact of those kind of scars that are starting to heal, that the French sort of tore into GB this morning. That 8-0 first half lead finished off with the Callahan. But of course, GB scoring their own Callahan to finish off their game against Sweden earlier on in the tournament. But so the Germans, I think that slightly easier game, still very hard, but mentally less defining. 15-11, they beat the Czechs. But it's still all very much to play for. Can Great Britain turn the ship around and come out with a win here to take second spot in Power Pool D? Who knows? Let's find out, folks, together. We'll be back with the rest of this game after these messages.
We live in a world where everything can be referenced online. Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. Eurodisc continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. Eurodisc.
What a grab! Oh my God! Somehow they do it!
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
Half-time at the European Youth Ultimate Championships 2023. Myself, Hannah Pendlebury, alongside Stefan Rapazzo. And this game is starting to heat up just a little bit. 3 breaks for the Germans, 1 for GB. But apart from that, look at the difference on the break chances, Steph. What a story.
Yeah, I mean, 3 for 10, not a great percentage, but giving yourself 10 chances is the bigger difference here. Getting those turnovers to fall, whether by way of opposition error or you're going out and getting them. The Germans have found ways. You know, if they can put that percentage, that conversion percentage up from 30%, they're going to be tough to stop in the second half. The Brits shooting 1 for 5, that's 20%, even a lower percentage and a lower amount they're getting. It has mounted, the pressure is mounting. But they got to keep bringing it. Right now, this game looks like it was the Germans after the first 5-6 points. At 5-2, it looked like, okay, if this goes anywhere to trading, the GB's not showing those real signs of being able to take away or score at ease. Now those signs are just starting to look a little bit evident. There's a little bit of belief that they can get the disc back. There's a little bit of belief that they can score cleanly. And GB, they got to twist a couple screws. They're going to come out in the second half with that, with the momentum they charged up at the end of the first half and carry that over and forget the first part of the game.
So the biggest stat, I think, for me in this game, Steph, has to be the average passes per turn. GB's O-line, 14 passes per turn. Germany's O-line, 21 passes completed per turnover. But the D-lines, 7 for the Germans, 2.5 for Great Britain. That is astonishing. GB's D-line, on those chances that they've had, the turnovers they've generated, they've only managed to have an average of 2.5 passes. And they've not been scoring in 2.5 passes. That break took quite a few.
So, big shout out again to all you in the chat at home watching. Great to see those likes going up to 64. I couldn't imagine we could ever get to 100. That's probably impossible. The world would probably implode if it happened, but I'm willing to find out if that would indeed happen. So go on. Let's see if the world can withstand the like onslaught you're about to bring us.
Well, hopefully there's not too much of an onslaught going on the pitch. We want a tight game. Shoots into the hands of Leiner. Now far side, Biskupek, the captain, really rising to the challenge. Of course, one of the stats leaders coming into this game for the Germans. Leiner. Back to Boom. Player whose name we're very familiar with saying. Inside channel taken. To say the mark of Lucas Baum needs to really be mindful of that. Leopold even. A little bit air again on the resets, but all fine. Shoots. Looking for that soft inside channel. We have to throw that one around. Just get beaten a little bit to the break side. So open side even. Germany winning the foot battle. think a foul being called. Nathan Hume on the charge. Violation called immediately. Too early on the set-off was Leopold Boom. Big old air bouncy around, just fading beautifully. GB able to stop the continuation flow to the other side of the pitch, but that one's another big break around. German disc skills really finding themselves, and a lefty air bounce backhand just shy of the goal line into the bread basket though. Looks to me like the number 12 Finn Lerner with the goal. It is indeed.
Lefty air bounce and caught a lefty grab, one-handed grab by the young Mr. Michael Schutz before he shoots and scores. Germany open up the way they want to, 9-6, and pretty clean looking hold there. They did it in 21 throws though, so that is, if there is anything GB can hang their hat on after that one, is they made it go through the hands. 21 is not an easy score. You slowed them down enough, you made them stop and think and mounted some stall counts, but I want to see more variation now in this second half, because what we saw out of the match defense towards the end was where the energy seemed to come from for GB.
Yeah, I think the pressure that GB has started to apply, especially on the marks towards the end of that first half, really started to pay dividends. Yes, some of them got called back because there was a little bit too much touch, some of the foot blocks, some of the hand blocks, having to return to the original kind of, thrower, but actually pressuring and challenging the German marks, because that's been a kind of a nature of the earlier stages when they were just galloping down the pitch like spring lambs, was the lack of pressure on the force and kind of just being able to throw whichever side they wanted to. So that sort of start to emerge again in that point. But good, calm, contained offense from the Germans. Now for GB to respond for the first time in the second stage. Brick ball, brought in by Sam Hill. So, Sam Hill getting us underway with an immediate reset far side to Gill. Plenty of space on this near side of the pitch. GB a little bit clustered, not really any movement from the downfield players against this spread German defense. Gill into Hill. Using that big frame to just try and reach around the arms of the force. This is good flow from GB, just very slowly inching themselves forward, but a transition now to match coverage. It's going to give them the opportunity. Gill surveying the options downfield, has Hill just grinding in front of him. Turns back, but a little bit too late. Instead it's Kelsey Stollen there. Now all the way across to Pantling. Flat and fine. Ben Allen now. Through to Gill. Pantling looking threatening towards that front cone.
Didn't he?
Hill underneath instead. Going for the cheeky footwork does Wilmore. James Gill though fakes the hammer, doesn't fancy it this time. It's going to be a blade to the back corner that's taken out of contention. Sebastian Meyerhofer denies Sam Hill.
Meyerhofer says no, not today, not in my house. And that one taken away. The score remains 6-9. And Germany with a chance to break. This is not what GB needed. They look pretty good running out of a vertical. I thought that they were generating space. Pantling looked threatening every time he was going up. There was even defenders peeling off to help him. But the last throw is the one that didn't go.
Yeah, GB have got a little bit trigger happy at the end zone a couple of times, and that's the second sort of bladey, indoorsy throw that's not worked out. But again, the Germans with a slight overthrow when they're trying to move laterally or upfield. Just a checking of the disc there.
Yes, it's a Euro disc.
Neil Cottonflow sort of laid out on top of the disc, just ensuring that his opponents have the right caliber of equipment to play with. Hill now activating the reset, throwing the inside channel. It's going to sail over the top, but redeemed by Robert Pantling.
Pantling, Johnny on the spot there.
Absolutely. Kelsey Stollen seeking an opportunity for a reset. Eventually dishes one out, but it is taken away. Again, Meyerhofer with the block, this time on James Gill. He's just doing everything, but that one has way too much air under it. Surely Pantling on the second bid. What a fantastic heads-up defense that was. Misses the opportunity there, hits himself just in the wrist, and then smacks it at the last minute.
Pantling came in as the help D, looked like, don't worry, I got you covered, Giel. I got this, I'll do the step in front, and then just whiffed at it and almost macked it into Meyerhofer's hands there. Lucky for GB, that one went to ground.
Well, he's only 16, so we can forgive him the spill. That was quite the redemption second opportunity shot. So can GB hold on to this point? I think it's the game of keep the disc away from Meyerhofer at all times. A bit like we were talking about with Pantling when he's coming out on defense for Great Britain. Nice easy one through to Giel from the hands of Moore. Oh, but again, I tell you what, this is becoming a real meat grinder of a point, Steph.
Yeah, let's make some sausage. We got a meat grinder here. I got some salt and pepper. Now we just need a little bit to decide what meat we're going to use. But meat grinder, indeed. Meyerhofer picks up the disc, calls the timeout, and chucks it to the ground immediately. A little bit of disgust in some of the body language, showing the frustration that both sides seemingly believed they should have scored on a few occasions by now.
Well, it is indeed both teams really starting to find a feel for each other in the second half of this game. But can GB do enough to bring their heads back above the waterline? We'll have to wait to find out. But don't go anywhere, folks. This game will continue. Germany leading, though, 9-6 over GB.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Second half action here at the European Youth Ultimate Championships 2023 in Padova, Italy. The clouds have rolled in and the breeze has appeared. I have to think that might favour the Germans, who've been a bit more conservative with the disc thus far, Stefan.
Yeah, this is bizarre wind. Like, I look straight ahead, I see the flags blowing to the right. For a second, the ones on the left-hand side of the stadium were blowing backwards towards the stadium. And it's swirling winds. We had mini tornadoes, tornaditos, happening at the start of the game, and I'm not exaggerating, little wind swirls on the field. So, yeah, throwers are going to have to really assess how they weight and release each throw with these consistently changing conditions now.
Well, bringing us back into play, is going to be Sebastian Meyerhofer, who's gotten quite a series of blocks thus far in this point. So I'm just sensing where GB want to put the disc and being there first.
And sensing where GB want to set up around this vertical stack. They've got a bit of a surround happening here.
Well, and it pays off. The intensity of the match coverage. And GB coaches did say that they like to surround the vertical stack very effectively. And again, the Germans overshooting a reset pass.
It has been 6-9 for a very long time. This is a marathon point here. As I've said before, we've all said and we all know these ones feel like they count for more. They are momentous points.
Well, full stretch to go. No, Taylor Light, that's goal line activity. The full stretch to go previously for the Germans. So Sam Hill, stall count starting to rise. Violation called, perhaps a marking infraction not adhered to. We'll chat with Meyerhofer. I think he just didn't hear him. So players will reset. Can the Germans put up another goal line stand as they have before? Oh, it's a backhand break around the shoulder. The height being exploited by both players. It's a Pantling Hill connection. And that is a hold for Great Britain, their first score in the second half.
Over the shoulder score holder. That one from Sam Hill. Just all too easy in the end, using the gifts he's been given physically and taking advantage of the shorter mark here. There it is again. Meyerhofer kind of got sucked in to the pivot, the inside look, and when Sam Hill decided he wanted to go to that break side, it was made to be very easy over the shoulder of a lower and moving Meyerhofer. That an important goal, 6 turns. GB had mustered up 25 passes on their first asking and failed. From there, a lot of single-digit possessions until finally that one there, 2 throws to get it in for GB. It's 9-7. This game still within reach, Hannah, very much so. Germany in the driver's seat, but GB not going away.
Yeah, plenty of youth division choices. I think you don't normally see quite so many second pass turnovers in championships, but certainly these teams full of young, feisty athletes who maybe don't always take the most conservative choices, but we love to see it in terms of our live stream action because it gives us plenty to get excited about. That one nearly snaffled away by the intense matchup.
Back into a match D situation for GB.
Yes, indeed. Trying to pin the Germans to that far goal line. Nice find around on the break throws. Giving up that open inside channel. Being quite flat around that one with plenty of loft underneath there on the attack, but just gets closed out. Fantastic spacing from Michael Schutz and a little cuddle afterwards. Nathan Hume knows he's been done there.
That is textbook boxing out. I thought Biskupek had an opportunity to get around. I saw Hulm had an opportunity to get around, but Schutz just kept working, feeling him out behind his back, lifting that right arm to kind of sense where the defense was coming from and would not allow a passage. So good on you, Schutz, taking care of that one from Biskupek. Under some defensive duress that you managed very, very well.
Well, Michael Schutz there, one of the more man of mystery in terms of his the information he's given us in his player survey. But we went for a hunt on social media. The 17-year-old plays for Munich, MUC, and Zermpel as well. Favorite mobile game is Clash of Clans, fun facts. But certainly a really great sort of just clash there in the end zone, holding his position very effectively.
10-7, Germany pulled.
You're kind of hoping that the Germans score this one, aren't you, Stefan?
Maybe a little bit. But I do want a tight game here, so maybe a little bit not as well.
Well, get in the live chat if you know exactly what we're talking about. Any fan of Stefan Rapazzo's commentary, i.e. the world, would know.
Oh, stop it, Annie.
But continue, but don't stop.
Yes.
But this pass tally has turned over. We have GB having to throw all the passes in the early stages, 171 to 176, just showing you the difference as the GB defense has applied the screws. Nice inside shot from Gill. One of the anchors of this GB offense alongside Hill. He finds, oh, that narrowly escapes the foot block of Madke. Now all the way across the field, Rowan Smith, the call from the GB sideline is patience, but that's going to be a fiery shot into the far side, collected by James Gill, adding to his already impressive stats tally, 4 goals and 1 assist.
Kelsey Stolen there, getting the job done. He had an early error in this game and has been slowly just getting himself back involved in on the scoring side of things here. There, a very nice upline throw, well balanced, got low for the release. Let's have a look again at how Cassie Stolen sets this one up and all of the finishing touches. There he is, the assister. Look at that, gets right down in a deep squat. He would have no trouble using some of these Italian toilets.
Well, we have been denied the Italian Granita level score, of course 7-11. Slurpy time, as you like to call it, Steph. But yeah, Kelsey Stolen, actually a Reading Ultimate player since 2021. Been playing for the Invite team on the junior squad. And has been enjoying that. And of course, the live chat indeed did get our reference for 7-11s.
Yeah, potentials will rule. That's what I'm talking about.
Kelsey Stolen's came up through the juniors program, made under 17s and now is under 20s. 2 consecutive plate winners at school nationals. Got the victory on Universe against Belgium 8-7 last year at the Joint Juniors Ultimate Championships. And of course has handled with the CEO of the UKU, i.e. Mr. UKU, Sam Hill's dad. Of course, we love seeing the future generations coming up through the ranks. Boom, one of the 2 sibling booms. Oh, lovely high release flick. Line up. Not the most believable backhand fake huck in the world. Swinging across now. Biskupic. Is he going to launch another big old lefty cannon? He does, but it's into the backfield.
It's a beautiful around throw.
Silky smooth, sometimes not a little bit of an overshoot. You can see the hands moving back after the contact from Enrique Olarakin. A little bit too much touching, but the pressure is really starting to mount for this match coverage. GB staying agile, denying the handler space more or less. They have to keep breaking the force consistently. Air bouncy again. Nothing but arounds. And inside breaks. Just trying to inch their way towards the goal line. That one a little bit racier. There's no opportunity to make the layout on the defense, but it requires one from Biskupek getting a bit of hang time. Players trying to win the battle to the front cone. Closing the door on the reset around very well. Line up forwards. Still count starting to rise. Good lateral swing, and there is the continuation. Just gently on the break side, but Moritz Lehmann scores and celebrates enthusiastically.
Nice work there in the small spaces once they got to the doorstep there. Didn't really go sideline to sideline and open it up, but a lot of good footwork shown to get open in these really small spaces. A couple of little throws to keep the angle of attack moving, and that was all that was necessary. Let's have a look again at these last 2-3 throws there, and the final one was all open because of the changed angle.
Yeah, we love these overhead shots from the replay. It's a little bit of, in fact, you could almost say there was an opportunity to make a pit call there on the change of direction from the underneath cut. And he sent up the assist to Leopold Boom. But what we see, what we think in the booth matters not. It's all about the athletes on the field making the calls. And Moritz Lehmann picking up another assist. It has to be said, the stats for the Germans are remarkably well distributed. They do have some pretty strong stats leaders coming into this game, Steph, but it has been a full stretch affair. There are very few players that haven't been involved in the 11 points.
Yeah, it is all across the board there. The Germans with great full team distribution.
Whereas GB have had some stats hoggers. In fact, that is one of them, just making that lovely reception. Calm and cool is James Gill. 4 goals and 1 assist so far. Hill's got plenty of touches, 2 assists thus far. But there are points for GB where he really is every other pass, and this may well be a section of play that includes that feature. Askham on the far sideline. Being squeezed, makes room, Bernard. A call for help from the sideline, but it's a squeeze through again, James Gill. Germany really trying to pressure and pin Great Britain to that flick side. It's a really nice shot finding Sam Hill. Thinks about the hammer. GB have to be respected on those fakes because, of course, they have thrown some absolute peaches to rip the can off the stack. Gill trying to get dynamically available. It's going to be a chuck it and hope to the far side of the end zone, and that is a really nice pass. A bit of vision from Sam Hill, creating the opportunity for Ben Allen to rise and clutch the 9th point for Great Britain, still trailing 2 breaks, but that was more like it.
9-11, another emergency coming up. Another Exeter receiver catching that goal. The 16-year-old Ben Allen in the right place at the right time for that high stall count reception. Back of the end zone, and did what he needed to do. He lagged off just enough in the back to be seen as open, and when the Blady throw came, he put 2 hands on it, safe as houses. And they're back within striking distance here, near late stages of the game. Of course, time, another factor, which we're just waiting to see the clock, but it's been approximately 90 minutes now. It's yeah, just more. We got 8 minutes 40 remaining, so it's been about 91 minutes and 20 seconds into this game. There's Ben Allen, and of course, for those of you at home that are new to watching Ultimate, the time cap, when we hit 00, that point will finish, and we will add 1 to the highest score, and the game will go to that as the points cap. Indeed. However, there's always a 15-point point cap, so if 15 is reached before that time, it's game over anyways.
Well, we have to say we do try and be unbiased in the booth, but we just want to see GB get 1 or maybe 2 breaks more. See this one go all the way down to the wire, and that will do very nicely indeed for Great Britain. A great snag from Rose Price. Can Innes do anything with it? It's going to go for a goal, and that is a beautiful shot across the bows. Great Britain with a very rapid conversion for the break.
GB coming now. That's late game action. That step in front by Rose Price was magnificent. The left hand came in, snagged it out of the air. The disc was still flailing while he had fingertips on it. GB looking to the drone there. They're excited. Rose Price, shout out to him. He's playing because his older brother got him into it. A Devon player. He comes from the Shire. And again, beating Germany on stream last year. This man wants to do it again. He knows how to do it. He knows what it feels like. And he wants another taste of that come from behind. Well, not sure if it was come from behind last time. It was Universe. This time, if they could do it, it would be a come from behind universe win, which is even tastier.
Well, it's entirely possible. The belief Innes Rose Price just injected into this match for GB is palpable here on the sidelines. In fact, related, over a West Country vibe, he's the cousin of the previous scorer for GB. Of course, the number 54, Ben Allen.
A cousin of a brother and a sister and a mother.
Well, we won't go too much into how that might fit into the West Country, but certainly it's a close-knit, very lovely community, and Biskupek putting that on his back, laying out. Inside shot again. The German handlers are so good at throwing those breaks. Whichever they're given, they'll execute with finesse. They've got a little bit hastier, this German O-line, towards the latter stages of this game. Can they just put it together step by step? Leopold Baum. Nice dish for Liner. Baum going up line. There's a hesitation. Heistel just about makes it. Pantling taking that matchup. Biskupek now. Seeking Baum. Oh, that's a really lovely lead. What creativity. Baum. Oh, I could hear the piece that Pantling's hand got on it, but cannot stop the flow to the front cone. That'll be good enough for the 12th goal for the Germans. They keep their lead in this game just about.
That Biskupek throw to lead open the field was phenomenal vision there. We're going to have another look here. Oh, no, that was earlier in the sequence, Biskupek's layout pickup. But here's Baum. And we don't see the throw that went to Baum, but the hockey assist on that was very much what kept this going. It really compromised the defense. The defense spread out, moving from far sideline to near sideline in recovering from that leading throw, but the lateral lead just changed everything. And as much as the 17 shirt of Baum had to look around a little bit once he had the disc, the cuts were really opening up because of that new angle of attack, and come stall 4-5 there, the open throw availed itself, and there you see Baum and his stat line.
Indeed, it has been relatively well spread across the board for the Germans. We mentioned it earlier, but there are a couple of stats leaders amongst the pack, and Leopold Baum is close to being one of them. Of course, Liner, 2 goals and 2 assists thus far. But massive hats off still to Sebastian Meyerhoff, 3 blocks on that German D-line.
Speaking of block lines, though, I'm just going to flip to the other side there. Robert Pantling has 5 blocks, Anna.
He's a big boy. I'm sure his
jumping Jawillikers.
I'm sure his twin brother Rupert will be itching to get back on the field and show us exactly what he's capable of doing with his twin-like fine frame. That's a fine choice, though. He's taken away, but what a grab for Ben Askham! Is there any question he can't respond to?
Ask him once, ask him twice. He'll keep going. Holy moly! Askham getting surrounded by his teammates, pointing to that drone and getting the spike. That was sensational. 2 defenders closing down on him. Left hand grab, near shoulder high. This is something. Let's take another look.
Well, it's a true trust bomb from the paws of Sam Hill.
Oh, I mean, Klimisch was there. He had a step. He was on the right side. His defender on the left side was a step behind, but still closing down, giving such small margin, such a small window to put that into, and somehow they put that on the board, Hannah.
Well, it really is all about the big layouts and grabs for Ben Askham. He's an academic weapon, but certainly a lethal saber in the end zone as well. That's another stat for his board. Just the 2 goals in this game, but What an absolute hero rip. Tell you what, our stat person, Elias, had the perfect sound effect for that. Did that ball land inbounds? It did just about. GB trying to pincer to the far sideline. Biskupek, though, going to respond with a huck of Germany's own, and there's a little piece on it, but not enough to stop the goal. A great rundown from Philip Reeder will take us to 13-11. What a great effort from Banjua.
Oh, Dewar, all due respect for that one. Got to catch your D's is what you hear. You didn't have much of an option there. You had full left arm extension to get the touch. It looked like it was going to be enough until it wasn't. Let's have another look here at the Huck. Biskupek, no hesitation. He's firing on all cylinders right now. Looked like, oh, feel for him there. You got to feel for Dewar, but if you're German, probably not. Reeder finishes up there, collects the goods, and they're 2 away. 2 down and 2 away. In my books, this is still a game.
Oh no, absolutely, Steph. I mean, Banjua taking a page out of the book of his coach, of course, the infamous Mark Bignell, a D-line monster himself. I'm sure he'll have plenty to be proud of course. The Windsor Wolf club experience with Reading Ultimate, so watch out for Banjua in the future. He's a 400-meter hurdler when he's not running around chasing plastic.
Jumping over obstacles, hurdles in life. But you're talking like 110-meter, like actual, like physical.
It's where he gets his mad ups from, bro.
Okay, so he's not just like, paying his bills when it's a really tough month.
Well, the time cap would have expired in between those 2 points, so I think we may well get a game to 15, depending on if the Germans can snag themselves another break here, but going all the way through to the time cap. That one, a little bit of a slide required for Askham. Shoots up line, Pantling underneath it, it's bobbled, but it's redeemed by Gill and into the breadbasket of William Moore.
And
more.
if Germany's going to get the advantage off the MAC, GB's going to get the advantage off the MAC. The luck will sway back and forth there. The mid-air correction, of course, is what I mean when I say MAC. And that's what you get when you get a bobble, when you get a smack on a disc but can't quite catch it. And that one intended for Pantling. He could only get fingers to it. But Gill didn't mind, set him up perfect for the catch and an immediate assist.
Yeah, amazing awareness from James Gill, and another to his tally. That'll be an assist. Thank you very much. 6 stats across this game. Dishwasher, spotless performance. Well, I say spotless. He has had the 1 turnover in this game. But apart from that, it's been pretty picture perfect. How's the number 73 for Great Britain?
All these people in the chats, great game, close game. We agree. Well, most great games are really like defined by at least having 100 likes though. So help us out and make this a real great game. If you haven't liked it, I know a good bunch of you that are active in the chat have been, oh yeah, I got that like, I got it clicked right at the first 5 minutes of the game. Well, we're now leaning on the rest of you. Great to see so many people watching this game. Like and subscribe. ULTI.TV, best in the world. And we're giving it to you. This action is hot and heavy, and it just keeps coming as the Germans receive this pull.
Well, this is GB's first opportunity to keep the game alive. The time cap has gone on, so this will be game to 14, of course, as our graphic denotes. Shoots on the far sideline. GB needs to stay consistent, stay with their matchups the whole time through. That one racing up line, a little bit of a sag off. Biskupek capitalizes, hammer over the top, but that spirals in a very strange fashion indeed, and is going to be taken away by Askham.
Askham with the heroics in the pile there, jumps through everyone. The hammer, ugly, but could have been caught if Askham didn't fire through and knock it away.
Well, Rose Price to get us started to King. Oh, and that is a hero maker of a shot. Is it going to be bookends? No! Oh, just shy of the goal line, but what a huge grab that was for Ben Askham. Askham to put my Yorkshire back on. Pick cool. Havarakin.
Askham is playing out of his skin right now. I'm convinced that he's going to have a purple shirt on and rip all his clothes off and turn green at some stage right now. The Incredible Hulk out there doing everything.
Well, GB just needs to punch this one in and bring us to Universe. Smith with the throw to Pantling, and we are indeed going to Universe Point, folks. 13 all, game to 14 here in Power Pool D.
I really have goosebumps right now. This is unbelievable. GB, this is what we foresaw at the midway point of this game, the potential to come back, to come from behind. Can they get this come from behind Universe Point win? Well, I don't know, but they've given themselves the chance, and this is just a phenomenal show, a game for the ages. And yeah, holy dooly, 13-13, 26 points played, Hannah. They don't matter, only this next one does. They've called the timeout, but we're gonna keep talking here because we've got a million things to break down. Even if we're just gonna talk about last night's dinner and how good it was in Padova, we'll talk about that, but we're not going anywhere for this break. Hannah, so advantage Germany based on the structure of the game. They are going to receive the pull. Advantage GB based on momentum of the game. Are you going to put your neck out and pick a winner here, or are we going to leave that for the punters in the chat?
Well, we've just had a timeout being called, so both teams will have the opportunity to rest their star players. So this point is all about, I think, if you're a GB fan, getting your matchups right on defense. I have a feeling we're going to see the likes of Pantling, we're going to see Askham.
Oh yeah.
We might see a cheeky Sam Hill.
Yeah, that's a crossover.
Because you need someone to kind of anchor that. In terms of the Germans, Biskupik, of course, had a falter there on that hammer, that lefty hammer that just corkscrewed in a very strange fashion. But actually, if you can get those handler marks set really correct, so looking out for Leopold Boom, that is a player alongside Biskupik you really have to shut down. Finn Liner, one of the very few standout stats makers in this game for Germany. And of course, do we have the number 23 who's been playing dogged defense all along? Is Meyer Hoffer on the line? No, he's coming off in front of us. So I think a true power O-line.
And everybody's showing up in the chat now. Statman Dan, not really, but Dan Demaray in the chat. He's showing up. Didzis Maldris, he likes GB. Joe White says number 5 on GB is nice. And a couple letters after that I don't know what they mean.
Well, we're going to get an electric finish of this game. Is it going to be the Germans who took the early advantage, or will it be GB? Rose Price with the spin pull to get us started, and boom, will centre into Biskupik. So a nice deep pull from GB, but didn't quite have the rundown. 0 mark on Leopold Boom.
Interesting that.
I don't really mind it. They didn't take the opportunity early stages, and now it's Pantling on the mark. GB worrying about that deep shot. There is space available for it, but they're not really looking. Shoots now. Again, GB just sagging off, leaving an open pass. Don't really like that. Got to put the pressure on in these moments. Pat Salt, far side. It's a little bit low and slides away from the intended target. Finn Liner has been so consistent.
Wow.
Slip.
A chance now for GB to win on a break.
Sam Hill in to Askham. Askham, sorry. Albarakin with a pick downfield. That one may have to go back to Rose Pantling.
Well, it is all happening here. You cannot ask for much more in a Universe Point game than to at least offer one possession to both teams. We've got that now. Germany will be begging to get another turn in this game, while GB hoping for cleanliness to finish this one out. What a game.
Well, we do like a Universe Point where both teams have a turnover, but Sam Hill's going to rescue that slightly low throw from Rose Price. Easy shot to Pantling. Can GB just grind out the underneath? It's going to be a slightly high ball into the air, and it's going to be Rowan Smith with the grab for the point win on the live stream for Great Britain. They said their highlight was defeating German nation previously on live streams for many of these players at the joint juniors last year, but they made the crucial moments, 3 on the bounce to finish. Steph,
you could feel it coming at halftime, and then there was this sense of disbelief a little bit that as they traded to about 9-11, it was like, all right, it's going, but it's not happening. And then the break. And for GB to be able to finish this with 3 in a row, a hold and 2 breaks, this goes down as a game for the ages. You couldn't have drawn this one up to be any more entertaining. I'll say that much. Best on field is very tough, but I got to go with Ben Askham. He's not got the biggest stat line, but he had the biggest sensational highlight line. The block that didn't count that he made in the end zone early, and that left-handed layout grab between 2 defenders. At Ben Askham, hats off to you. What a performance you put on. But really, there are so many names that we can go back and mention here. Hannah, what a cracking game.
Absolutely, a corker and a half. Big hats off actually to Rowan Smith and Robert Pantling. Those last 2 breaks were connections between those 2 players, but that was an absolute sizzler. Game of the tournament so far, I'd have to say.
Yeah, I mean, we've had 4 or 5 Universe Point games now on the stream. That one just had a little bit something more. I mean, something about getting deeper into this game, into this tournament. We're in power pools now. There's a bit more meaning to this. And we are going to get an interview here by the man that was flying around anyway, Ben Askham, on his way into the booth. Pleasure to meet you too. Have a seat, young man.
Absolutely. So as Steph takes off his headset and passes it to Ben, it also has to be said those standout players that we all just mentioned are some of the young emerging stars who've only just made it out of the under-17s division and here to this under-20 stage. So Ben, how does it feel right now?
It's just, this is why you play Ultimate, you know? You don't play for a 55, you don't play, nobody likes getting absolutely destroyed, nobody likes absolutely destroying a team. These are the games you live for, you know? This is the way it should be played. And I think everybody on that pitch reflected how this sport should be played. It was an amazing game, and you know what, full credit to the Germany team. They left their heart and soul on that pitch, and you know what, they've done their country proud. They really have, and the boys, where to begin? Where to begin? I can't.
Well, okay. So let's begin then with how you recovered from your game this morning. Your coaches said they just let you lads do whatever you needed to do. They respected you and gave you that maturity. So the early stages of this game, you went down those 3 breaks. Obviously, it was a slow start against the French. You had the second half, much better performance. Yeah. So, how did you turn the ship around in this game?
I think at the start of today, we thought, you know what, we need to pull something out of the bag, and we thought, you know what, the French are an incredible team. We saw them last year, superb. But we went into that French game. I don't think the heads were there. I think everybody remembers how the French played last year, and that they were amazing, and that they're very slick, and full credit to them. I think we came out of that game and quite a few of the heads were low, and then I think into this Germany game we thought, you know what, we're on live stream, we need to pull something out of the bag, and you know what, I think we really did that. I think it was an amazing performance from the boys, and I think that break in between, just time to reflect, think what we could do better. I'm just so proud of the lads.
Oh, absolutely. So you were definitely pivotal in some of these deep receptions. Certainly Sam Hill throwing some absolute beautiful throws to you.
I would be lost without him on the pitch. I have to say I owe my credit to the handlers. My job is made far easier with them on the pitch, I can tell you that for sure. But I'm just Just such a good game. That's all.
Well, the chat's been going absolutely wild. That you've made some new fans certainly in your performance today.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any messages for your fans and family watching back at home?
Thank you very much for watching, first of all. But you know, we'll take it. We'll keep going. The role begins now.
Indeed, what you have by getting second in the power pool stages, of course, you are now on the opposite side of the bracket to the French.
We are.
Who are your big opponents now? Of course, the Italians, in the other power pool.
I think to begin with, we need to take the quarterfinal as it comes. You know, I'm not quite sure how the other game went to see who we're playing, but I think we go from there. You know, and I think if we can get that, and we can get into the top 4. That'll be incredible. And you know what? It's magic on the day. That's what it boils down to, you know? It's how much you want it. It's not how good you are, it's how bad you want it.
Well, absolutely. You've got a really deep squad, and it really shows some incredible young talents coming through.
Thank you very much.
In terms of the experience of this tournament, being at the under-20s level, because you played under-17s, right?
Yes, I played under-17s.
So what's the kind of step up? Is it really a big difference here coming up to the under-20s?
It's immense. You know, the physicality you have to put on the pitch there is 100% every time. I mean, under-17s, there is a big difference between the lads that are 16 and the lads that are 14, you know. You are the side of the spectrum. But, you know, and I think coming up to the under-20s, it's when you start becoming a bloke. And, you know, the physicality, you know, just the turns, the pressure, people on your shoulder, you know, going up for those discs, you have to leave everything on the pitch. There is no point walking away going, oh, I could have done that, I could have done this. It is 100% on the pitch.
Well, I think it has to be said that you gave everything in that game. Was there anyone you particularly enjoyed marking when your matchups with the Germans? Because you played a lot of match defence.
Yes. I'm not quite sure the numbers, but full credit to number 8. He made me work very hard. I am absolutely shattered. He made me work for everything. And you know, I think there was another chap with a hat. Cap, I can't quite remember his number, but he was one of their main handlers. And tell you what, that's the thing I hate the most. The tricky jab steps around the handle, very hard to mark. But you know, full credit to the German boys. They played very well there.
Well, congratulations again, Ben. We'll let you get back to your team to celebrate. It's been a real
much.
pleasure. Good luck in the championship bracket.
Thank you very much.
Great work, Ben.
Thank you.
Congratulations, mate.
Well, that will wrap us up here. The game stats of this match, it's going to be a really close one for sure. Let's get a look at them.
And here's a look at the game stats.
But in terms of then the conversion of the breaks, not really a picture-perfect performance for GB, just the 7 clean holds, half of their scores. But the break chances for the Germans, the conversion rate in the second half, they didn't get any.
No, they didn't get any converted, and GB quite the opposite. They got they converted on all of their opportunities to close out the game. What a cracker. We got to get going. We got another game coming up. The German women against the Czech women. Hannah, that one was a brain melter. I got a feeling we got more brain melters to go. I hope our cerebral cortexes can stay intact through all this. But what a game. Thanks for joining us back home.
Absolutely. Stay tuned, though. We are bouncing into the women's division. We have the Czech Republic. Who will they be facing up against, Stefan?
This one here, Germany, the German women, Czech Republic women. It's all going down here in Padova. Beyond the wonderful dinner options we keep getting, the ultimate is incredible.
Absolutely. So if you're a German fan, stay tuned. We'll be right back with the women's division after this.
Try too hard, nothing's ever enough. Even if I try too hard, tell me what to do, say anything, yeah. Dive deeper, dive deeper, yeah. Dive deeper, dive with me, yeah. I know we could fly if we just tried, if we just tried. So come on, baby, dive deeper, dive deeper, yeah. Dive deeper, so hard. Nothing's ever enough, even if I try so hard. Tell me what you do now. Dive deeper, dive deeper, yeah. Dive deeper, dive with me, yeah. I know we could fly if we just try, if we just try. Dive deeper, dive deeper, yeah. Dive deeper, dive with me, yeah. I know we could fly.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, Ultimate.
ULTI.TV.
You should learn that on your own. I'll play cool, 'cause I hope you pick it up soon. And you know just what to do. Don't you? Boy, just be